Saltwater History, episode 183, Thursday night. Richard, what's going on?
Is the effect wearing out on you?
What effect?
The vibes, the excitement of being proven right all the time, the satisfaction?
Is that what this is about?
Well, just in the most important of things. The past 10 years, we've been right. I mean, we haven't been podcasting for that long.
I wouldn't, yeah, 10 years is a far way back for me, I would say.
Yes, 5 years.
This decade is safe.
This decade is safe on the major stuff. And revelations came out this week that what we asserted to be evidently true about October 7th, the day that will live in Israeli infamy, that was a false flag and inside job. Well, while there was obvious evidence that existed back then, including how a bunch of basic paragliders was able to breach the most heavily surveilled border on planet Earth, makes the DMZ in Korea look like your neighbor's fence, and then carry out attacks with the Hannibal Directive employed so as to serve as the ultimate justification for the ethnic eradication and genocide of the Palestinian people. Well, the proof is now overwhelming with, as it was relayed this week by testimony of some of the soldiers, the IDF soldiers who were on the border on October 7th, and then also to those Israeli Defense Force generals and higher ups within the IDF have been relaying to General Michael Flynn that they were told to stand down on October 7th, inexplicably, by the way, so that Hamas could carry out these attacks that we know set the stage for both the perdurance of the Likud party's dominance and Netanyahu's premiership over Israel, and allowed this Zionistic genocide to take place.
Do you want to play the clip?
Let's go ahead and play the clip from Steve Bannon's show of General Michael Flynn. 2 minutes, about 2 minutes, a couple minutes.
And there's an investigation going on, and I've already heard from some of the soldiers that were told to stand down and the exact hours. So something bad happened, and it was an inside thing. I don't know, again, that's a bombshell right there. So the internal situation in Israel has got to be done with a
hold it, hang on. Whoa. Hang on. You can't drop a bomb like that. Mike Flynn, your former head of DIA, first national security advisor, President Trump, a revered figure globally. You're saying your sources are telling you on the investigation that they're trying to slow down and slow walk over there because we're coming up on the second anniversary of it. You're saying that you're hearing there's testimony or documents or actual evidence that certain elements of the Israeli military were told to stand down? Because I know from people I know, this is a very contentious area, and it's going to be explosive. Are you hearing the same thing?
Steve, you can go back to interviews that I did like the next day and the following week after October 7th in multiple broad alternative media where I said something went wrong because, Steve, I have personally walked that border. I have been down at those areas, and I know the details of how the Israelis, one of the most secure borders in the world, how they do their operations. So I know that. So something broke down, and it wasn't because of mistakes. So that's number one. This internal machinations that are going on right now, what's going to have to happen? They're going to have to come to grips with this because I'm going to tell you, the American people, they're getting tired of it. They're getting tired of this constant, Israel. I mean, I'm the biggest fan. I would, I have been to Israel many times. I have, served alongside them. I have done things with them, certainly on the intelligence side. So I'm their biggest fan. But the American people are not.
I'm their biggest fan, but I'm their biggest fan.
Yes, that's always the necessary corollary, right? No matter
What's up with
what.
that?
And it's amazing. I thought that with the Biden administration and their not just tacit but active approval of the genocide in Gaza, that there wouldn't be another administration that would be so overtly throwing out that obligatory corollary. Every official does it, no matter how minor.
It's a disclaimer. It's a disclaimer.
Yes. at the end of every propagandic commercial that tells you you should just bow low to the Zionist state conceived in 1948. Bow low to the Zionist state conceived in 1948 because they are the victims of the Holocaust. And despite the fact that they hadn't, that the peoples that would later emigrate to Greater Israel had little to no connection whatsoever to Jewish or Arab Palestine, that they would be able to go in and create their own state and destroy the already extant cultures and civilizations there. And people forget too, and this is an obvious and a quite large theme in my upcoming book. But what's amazing is to see how anti-Christian all of these activities and mechanizations have what they've the existence of Israel in the Middle East, both directly and indirectly, has eviscerated, has almost vanished the Christian populations there. Whether we're talking about Iraqi Christians, Syriac Christians, Christians in Lebanon, really what's left outside of the West Bank and, well, even, I mean, Bethlehem had a majority population or near majority population in 1948. It's down to lower than 10% now. Christian towns are being openly attacked, according to the testimony of Cardinal Pizzaballa, the Latin patriarch of Jerusalem, openly attacked by Jewish settlers, the last majority Christian towns in the Holy Land, in the West Bank. And then we're getting to a point where the only two safe refuges for Christians in the Middle East are Lebanon and Egypt, both countries of which were constantly told by AIPAC and the Jewish lobby are full of murderous Islamic fundamentalists, and that we Christians ought to be aware or beware and always feel trepidation about the status of Christianity in those countries. And yet you're much safer as a Christian in Egypt or Lebanon than you are in the West Bank or
Right.
Gaza for that matter. I mean, after all, Israel just mistakenly shoots a tank munition into the one Catholic church in Gaza. Because the IDF is known for its lack of precision, right?
It slipped.
Yes. The
I was
state,
thinking about,
can
go
I
ahead.
say something that's a part of the book that I hope to drive home, but I can introduce here. The state is Talmudic. The whole
Mm,
conception and institution of the state is Talmudic. It is Second Temple and post-destruction of the temple Zionist in its nature. And that's why especially with the Zionist nationalist movement of Theodore Herzl and David Ben-Gurion and the successive people who in Eastern Europe in the 19th century were pining for der Judenstaat, a Jewish state of their own. Well, the pining for the state sort of, if I could go so far as to say, betrayed a greater connection, resonance that really since the Old Testament, Jewish individuals and people of the Old Covenant, when in their open defiance of God, always pined for greater state or political power so as to exercise their libido dominandi over other peoples, but certainly over each other as well. And if there's a real constant theme to the animus that Jesus expresses to various groups within the Gospels, one constant strain is his instruction, especially to the Pharisees, to stop lording the law so as to dominate other people through fear, through shame, and instilling in them a false guilt of the Pharisees being in a sense, owners and interpreters of who's carrying out in authenticity Mosaic customs and laws, and those who are not, and those as a result who ought to be condemned. They are whitewashed tombstones.
I was thinking more about where we've been right this decade.
Mm.
I was thinking about one that I could have back is the overreaction to Trump winning the election and just what I thought that was going to do.
Uh,
I
do you
think
think that we were wrong?
I think if you looked back, I think we would have said, at least I know I said that he's surrounded by like JD Vance and all Elon Musk, and he's got entrepreneurs around him, and he's got all these business-minded people, and we're gonna get out of these messes.
Well, I don't know if you should be so harsh on yourself because
Well, the batting
it,
average has been great this decade, but I'm trying to think of big
because
misses. If,
it,
but
and I could be wrong, but I think both of our sentiments were not so assured as you're communicating them here that this was going to be accomplished, but that at least the disposition was such.
I think there was always, maybe I even said it on the episode after that. I'm ready to be let down though. Like it's not
Yes,
gonna
yeah, I remember you saying that very quickly. Even it might have been in the same episode in which we're saying, wow, he pulled this off. That was our episode where we made this obvious comparison between him and Grover Cleveland.
that too.
His political, and by the way, we weren't drawing any other conclusions other than the guy was successful as a politician to alter the narrative so as to go away from the idea that he was, in a sense, a cuck traitor to corporate interests and the already powerful to a populist, as Cleveland was able to do. Well, he was successful in doing it in 1884 and then had to come back and do it in 1892 again. So, and the ability to persuade, especially then, what's wild is, of course, you had a voting base that was much more informed, ironically, than the current American voting constituency.
Right.
So, but at the same time, Cleveland did not just and could not just appeal to the Mark Hannas and, well, he really didn't because Mark Hanna was a GOPer, but the powerful interests in the Democratic Party or for that matter, business community. He really did have to at least pose as a populist. And so obviously Trump was able to do that. Of course, again, we're comparing, I mean, even Benjamin Harrison would intellectually blow Kamala Harris out of the water at any particular intellectual endeavor from ranging from politics to governance, but still, so he was a much more worthy opponent. It is amazing to think that both in terms of intelligence and character, just capacity, how worlds apart, even the losing and unpopular political figures of the late 19th century were compared to today's, how crude and unimaginative and ill-informed, how demagogic they all are today in comparison.
Yeah, it is its own church. No.
Mm, mhm. The synagogue of Satan, maybe.
Where else have we been right?
Well, we were right about Russiagate. We were right about what else? What other big issues? Uh,
COVID.
COVID.
That feels like a layup now, but it wasn't at the
It
time.
wasn't at the time. It wasn't at the time. Yeah. We were right about Epstein. We were right about, I mean, it's amazing to think that, and this is not, by the way, we had this queued up, but we didn't set it up this way. But you want to go to our favorite meme that just popped that, oh, you just speak about principles in this regard. You convinced me, and I think for my own betterment and desire to be consistent in in an ideological sense of the insanity of voting.
I remember that one.
Yes.
That's the
So,
one argument I think that might be the one argument I've won over you.
although,
I got my big one.
yeah, so we could use the generic we in that regard. Did you move me? I mean, I think I was initially right, and then I came to convince you that it's easier to convert a libertarian to Catholicism than a Catholic to libertarianism.
I think the jury's still out on that.
Oh, come on. I thought you ceded ground. I thought you threw in the towel.
It's been a tough year. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a tough year. Here's a good one for the people that are not able to watch. It's two guys walking down the sidewalk. One's got a cup of coffee.
Oh, dude, sorry, but I'm just kind of dwelling on what we've gotten right. How about the big ones like Pope Francis?
That's more you, I think.
Well, you were young by the time he ascended to the papacy, but by the latter half of the pontificate, you were on board and understood well the heretical nature of his tenure and his initiatives. Yeah. How he was a bad actor, right?
Yeah, that's some
Did we hesitate in
sensei fidelium.
yes, did we hesitate in proclaiming that at any chance we got? Even if I was saying derogatory and inflammatory things about him, you were nodding your head, correct? So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
The destruction he was applying to the church.
The market share we could have gained during COVID is
Correct. That's a huge one. The appeal that the church had the possibility of winning for itself
exactly.
in defense and in standing up for the innocent, the true, the good, and the beautiful, the transcendence. Ah, and that just totally
Or
booted
just
that one.
the no show from the larger church
Yeah.
in 2022 midterms.
Mm,
Remember this when Joe Biden was passing out and shitting himself and falling asleep
yeah.
everywhere?
Right.
And the only thing that they really ran on was just Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm. We were all right. We predicted that, did we not? So we're betting pretty much 1,000.
Here's the meme. I don't know, man. I'm starting to doubt that this bloated surveillance state war machine run by an ancient demonic cult of child rapists can be fixed by voting.
There you are. There you are. The state is Talmudic. So there's, yeah. I mean, we're trying to. That's the absurdity of democracy. That's the absurdity of liberal democratic systems. Is that we have to both feign and imagine some absurdities as being true at the same time, right? One, that it's not an oligarchy, and two, that it can be fixed through our participation in the process that the oligarchy has set up. I mean, talk about a real fatal conceit of believing in those lines of mendacity and risible falsehood. I mean, that's just smacking in the face the absurdity of it.
Yeah.
So we go from Israel and Gaza and the slaughter that's taking place there, all under the guise of Hamas being this terrible force that committed these homicidal acts against innocent Israelis that happen to be, by the way, occupying their country and forcing them into an open air prison camp for the past, well, decades, several decades. Yes. So that's the endless justification for shooting children as they're going for aid and stuff of that nature. And Hamas is under every rock. It's very similar to the early South Park episode when Jimbo and Ned go out and everything that comes at they go hunting and everything that runs at them is a danger, so they shoot it. Right. Same justification here. Hamas is under every hospital and under every school. Hamas must be hiding behind those children who are starving to death. Yeah, quite the justification for eradicating a people and a population. So
Talk about something closer to home.
and someone who's definitely not starving, and that's JD Pritzker. I almost said JD Vance, but by this point, they're all the same.
Report shows Illinois government pension crisis worst in the US.
Yes.
Illinois has the nation's worst public pension crisis. Nationwide analysis from the Equitable Institute shows Illinois state pensions remain fiscally unstable and threaten retirees and taxpayers, underscoring the need for reform. Reform.
Yes, we just need reform, and we can get those once we mount a political movement to really challenge the oligarchs. That's when they'll respond. Uh-huh.
The Equitable Institute's annual report on the state of public pensions nationwide reaffirms that Illinois pensions continue to lag the nation in funding and are in desperate need of reform. If the state fails to fix its pension issues, the budget will continue to be strained. People will continue leaving the state over high taxes, and future pension benefits could be at risk. Preserving the cost savings of Tier 2, offering retirement choice of state employees, and constitutional pension reform should all be implemented if Illinois is to have any hope of gaining fiscal stability.
Again, God bless the Illinois Policy Institute. They're really doing yeoman's work, right? But these are all normie solutions to
I'm their
an,
biggest fan.
an insidious problem. There you go, an insidious problem. That one that is not going to be altered by some utterly ridiculous and miraculous. It would have to be alteration of course. The boat can't be turned. It's without rudder. It's just heading for the fiscal cliff. And the notion that we could somehow reconfigure and redesign the thing to stave off collapse is pretty risible.
State unfunded government pension liabilities as a percentage of gross domestic product versus funding ratios for end of fiscal year 2024.
Look how Tennessee is overfunded. It's funded over 100% of its pensions. And there's another state, it looks like, above Tennessee. I don't know if that's Alaska, Wyoming, probably Wyoming. I mean, this is crazy.
There's Illinois.
Illinois is last. Oh, Mississippi's scaring me a little bit there.
Well, here's Alaska.
Oh, there's Alaska. So it must, this other state up in the funded over 100% must be, I would say it's Wyoming. I'm going to take a guess into that.
Comparing pension debt to the state's GDP helps measure the state's ability to pay based on the local tax base.
Yes.
By that measure, Illinois ranks as the nation's worst. Unfunded obligations equal 19.02% of state GDP, up from 18.52% a year ago. In other words, roughly 1/5 of everything produced in the state would be required just to erase the shortfall.
Well, and then the Illinois Policy Institute had this other piece where it said in 1996, Illinois taxpayers paid $614 million into pensions alone. Today, it is $11.2 billion. And here's the thing, the pensions are still underfunded. So think about that. We're talking about a near 200% increase in Illinois taxpayer contributions to pension funds. And it's more underfunded than ever. Despite the fact that, yes, COVID presented the opportunity wherein blue states like Illinois were awash with federal cash. And you have Pritzker saying that the state is in good financial shape as a result. Well, those funds are now exhausted and gone, mainly through waste and poor allocation and expenditure. And now you're in this fiscal environment.
Illinois' funded ratio, the share of promised benefits already covered by assets, is 50.6%, the second worst in the nation. The state finished the previous 2 years in last place, but this year New Jersey slipped below it with a ratio of 50.2%. Illinois is one of only 4 states that remains under the 60% threshold, many analysts label as seriously troubled.
Wow, it looks
Nebraska,
as though I was wrong. It was
Wisconsin.
It was
Wow.
Tennessee, Wisconsin that were the most
Washington.
Washington State. That's interesting.
New York, pretty high.
Yeah, pretty high. Think about that burden to taxpayers.
Individual state pension systems are weak too. 3 of Illinois' 5 statewide systems still rank among the 10 worst funded in the country, tying New Jersey for the greatest number of distressed systems on the list. Arizona, Kentucky, California, and Missouri help fill in the other spots, each with only one plan on that list. The state university's retirement system fell into the bottom tier last year, but improved enough in 2024 to move up, while the other Illinois systems kept their poor positions. California judges, 2.2%.
Oh, well, that doesn't
So
really
they
count.
rank
They have a pay-as-you-go plan.
they rank Oh, got it. The rank of 175 U.S. public pension systems by funded ratio in 2024, showing the bottom 10. So we've got 5, 6, 7 judges, teachers, state employees.
Right. And then if you go to the other pension systems, such as the Chicago firefighters pension, it's funded at a 22% clip. So the municipal pensions are even worse than the state-run ones.
A low funding ratio means more uncertainty. At 50.6%, Illinois only holds half the money it needs to meet promises already made. It's like having 50 cents on hand for every dollar owed. If
Mhm.
liabilities keep growing faster than assets, the ratio will shrink farther, and at some point, the state will lack the cash to pay benefits on time.
Yes, and when they float new bonds to, if they were to float bonds to pay for it, of course, the interest rate on those bonds would be so high, so as to require even further taxpayer funding of it.
Just like someone who fails to pay off their credit card debt, this continual putting off until later signals fiscal instability and is one of the biggest reasons behind Illinois' bottom of the nation credit rating, according to S&P.
I swear I didn't read ahead. It was just, that's where it was going.
This low credit rating leads to higher borrowing costs and less appeal for people to stay here, let alone to make Illinois their home.
Dwindling tax base.
It's not too late for lawmakers to improve the state's financial outlook.
Yes, it is.
First, they should preserve the savings generated by Tier 2, the leaner benefit formula created in 2010. That means avoiding the public union push for pension boosts that approach the unaffordable Tier 1 promises. Oh, here's the shoulda, woulda, coulda.
We're just on a
They're
long
offering.
walk off a short tier.
They offer
See
a
what I did
solution. Second, they should offer new state workers the defined contribution option already available to the members of the state university's retirement system. That would give employees portable benefits like a 401k plan and reduce long-term risk for taxpayers. Third, they should seek voter approval to amend the Illinois Constitution. The Constitution severely restricts pension reform, making meaningful change almost impossible. Amending the state constitution would allow Illinois to adopt proven reforms implemented elsewhere, such as responsible cost of living adjustments, which would enhance fiscal stability and ensure the sustainability of pension benefits.
Charlie, what's more likely? The accelerationist stance that I've come to adopt where it's just going to have to all crumble first, or that you're going to get this substantial yet incremental change over time, incremental over time, I mean, of amending the Illinois Constitution to ensure that the state can find other methods by which to do away with its pension obligations. Come on.
Illinois' poor pension standing compared to other states is a clear signal for change. The longer Illinois state pensions lag their peers, the longer the state's financial health is threatened, putting pensioners and taxpayers at risk.
Okay. Thanks, Illinois Policy Institute. I appreciate it, but
Doing good work.
they're doing good work.
Come
And
on.
I don't want to rain on their parade. Their fiscally responsible liberal democratic parade.
Let's get in a little hotter water.
Okay.
IP, you gotta get some
Yeah, let's get
you gotta crank up the heat a little bit.
hmm
So Illinois broke.
So true.
Nothing new. Anything else we wanted to Chicago? Commercial property taxes 2x US city average.
Oh yeah,
That's
yet another
just
attractant.
that's a big part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Chicago's at 4.08%. Detroit's at 4.05%. National average 1.81%. So even higher than 2x.
Can you imagine trying to be a commercial real estate agent in Chicago and a company's looking to relocate and they're saying, "Oh, well, maybe we should let's consider some cool office space in downtown Chicago." Oh yeah, sorry, your corporate state income tax rate, your corporate tax rate in Illinois is going to be 4 or twice as high as Indianapolis or Milwaukee. Okay, I'll deal with a little bit of a colder winter in Milwaukee, right?
This is how it ends. Elected leaders need to look for ways to reduce the property tax burden, such as controlling public pension growth. Until that happens, more communities will suffer and more opportunities will disappear. Was this
Yes.
written by ChatGPT to just say,
Wait,
take it easy on the government,
I know.
take it a little easier.
Work
Like,
within the system, Charlie.
hey, can you edit this and just
Yeah, just
take away a couple punches there? Take away a couple
mollify it a
jabs.
little bit. We don't want to be shrill toward the state.
So
Speaking of shrill caterwauling, don't we have a village nearby that its inhabitants do a great deal of that?
we sure do. That's a good transition.
Boom.
Meanwhile in Oak Park.
Should go to your gay suburb now.
The people segment.
The People segment, Meanwhile in Oak Park, brought to you by Trident Seed Brewing. Drinking some Second Amendment tonight.
Awesome. I'm gonna get a refill.
The Second Amendment protects the First.
Okay, Joe Walsh. Oh my gosh. What do we got here?
This is interesting. Oak Park
Oh.
terminates Flock license plate reader contract.
Wow, that moves quickly because last week we were talking about how they wanted to selectively turn off Flock to monitor people in Oak Park. Now they're just doing away with the whole thing.
4 Oak Park trustees rejected a motion that would have turned the cameras off for 90 days, shutting down the program outright. Oak Park leaders voted August 5th to shut off the village's license plate reading cameras. Are we healing as a society?
I'm sure the Flock company is overjoyed about this.
The Oak Park Board of The Oak Park Board of Trustees voted to cancel the village's contract with Flock Safety, shutting off the 8 license plate reading cameras the company operates in the village. The board opted to cancel the contract outright rather than adopt a measure that would have shut the cameras off for 90 days. The decision comes weeks after the state announced it was investigating the company that runs them. The village's network of cameras was no longer capturing images as of 6:43 p.m. Wednesday, August 6th. Oak Park Police and the village's law departments will continue working with Flock to coordinate the physical removal of the cameras in the near future. That's not a sentence. The physical removal of the cameras in the near future. The village renewed its contract with Flock Safety last year via a narrow 4-3 board vote. The Flock automated license plate readers, quote, capture an image of a vehicle's license plate, read the image using software, compare the plate number read against databases containing vehicles of interest, and ultimately alert an officer when the system has captured the license plate of a vehicle of interest, according to the village. The technology also allows law enforcement to search a nationwide database for surveillance data on vehicles of interest. Flock has contracts with more than 4,000 communities nationwide. 4 trustees, Jenna Leving Jacobson, Brian Straw, Derek Eater, and Chibuke and Yia, made up the majority voting to cancel the contract. Oh gosh, we've got a good quote here. Hold on. Those trustees cited concerns over privacy, distrust of the Flock Corporation, and the potential for the cameras to be used for immigration enforcement in violation of both state law and village sanctuary ordinances.
Yeah, but remember when immediately after Trump was elected, they all came out and said, we're not going to defy federal law. They had to bow low, at least in a salutary way, to the centralized state.
Here's the quote of the week. This is what democracy looks like, Straw said.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I do hope other communities will look at this conversation and will look at the national stories that are coming out and reconsider if they want to continue participating with Flock and continue sharing their data. This is a healthy part of democracy to actually change what we're doing in response to national events and trends. While trustees said they
trust federalism, it's not so much a healthy part of democracy. Go ahead.
While trustees said they trust that the Oak Park police have been doing their best to mitigate those risks, the issues were too urgent to delay the vote, the trustees said.
Emergency! Emergency!
Quote, we could stop using them for 90 days, but that doesn't mean that Flock, which is the problem factor here, not the Oak Park Police Department's use of them, can't continue to use that data to build their databases, to train their AI, Leving Jacobson said. We can't protect the data that's being collected in our community from being used to harm innocent people, and we're challenged to protect those people. In June, the Illinois Secretary of State's office said it was investigating Flock Safety over alleged illegal searches by out-of-state law enforcement of data produced from Illinois license plate readers. The searches under scrutiny by the office include an alleged inquiry by Texas law enforcement through the Mount Prospect Police Department's database into the whereabouts of a Texas woman investigators believed had an abortion, as well as searches connected to immigration enforcement cases.
Again, you got to defend those baby killers, baby. You got to defend the
Trustees
baby killers.
Trustees Jim Taglia and Corey Wesley offered an alternative motion that would have turned the cameras off for 90 days, giving the board more time to make a call on the contract. Going with that option would have potentially opened up an opportunity for more feedback from the Oak Park police and the community, they said. Quote, "You can't hold the police accountable to unrealistic expectations," Taglia said. "The real question is about what Oak Park is willing to do to maintain a safe, inclusive, and economically vital community. What is the role of technology in policing? The answer requires hard work and can't be done without the police being effective, yet still consistent with community values, and it doesn't get done by removing flock cameras here tonight." This is just brutal. There's so much just not saying anything with Oak Park. Wesley said that he and Taglia knew which direction the majority of the board would go before they introduced their motion, but it was important to advocate for a process they believed was right. Quote, "I know what the votes are tonight, but I worked on this with Jim anyway. That's interesting," Wesley said. "The potential for harm is real. Cameras in Illinois were accessed for purposes that run counter to our values and in ways I didn't anticipate last year under the Biden administration. So if we're this close to agreement, why the separate motion? Because I want to see a different process to get to this point if we're going to get here, a process that pulls in our professional police force to give them a seat at the table and input into the future of the tools that will be available to them to do their job." Village President Vicky Skaman, who in the end voted in favor of both motions after it was clear that the contract would be canceled, said the board failed its obligation to the village's professional staff. Quote, "While I know that all of you are very genuine about your service to our community, but this feels icky," she said. Nobody is going to watch this meeting and learn anything. We had the power as the Village of Oak Park to have a more substantive conversation where we're with our professional staff to uncover the challenges and to get down to facts and likely have come to the same place. Police Chief, this is going long. Police Chief Shatonia Johnson was present at this meeting and gave succinct answers to a few questions, but she did not give a presentation on the cameras Tuesday night. In June, Johnson provided trustees with a detailed memo about the license plate reader program. We talked about this last week.
Nice to hear from Shatanya whether she thinks the thing works and is keeping the greater Oak Park community safe or not.
What's this guy's last name?
Giannoulias.
I always mix that up. Secretary of State Alex Giannoulias told reporters last month the state believed that 46 different law enforcement agencies from around the country had made illegal searches of Illinois flock safety data sets. Garrett Langley, Flock CEO, this guy's crazy too. He said their crime's going to be zero in 10 years.
Yeah.
Wrote a blog post saying the company had taken steps to make sure all law enforcement searches of Illinois license plate reader data comply with state law, and that it had banned 47 agencies from accessing Illinois camera data after an internal audit. Flock Safety also maintains that the search into the Texas woman didn't violate state law because it was a missing person investigation where no criminal charges were being sought. The company's cameras are also the subject of a federal lawsuit filed in Virginia, in which a civil liberties organization is arguing that the company's surveillance violates the Constitution.
Flock doesn't have enough lobbyists in Washington, that's for sure.
No, they gotta.
Or in Springfield, they gotta buy nicer dinners for the.
They gotta boost those numbers. Yeah.
Why don't they just get in meetings with APAC? Right.
It could be a good way to go.
Good strategy, let me tell you.
Oak Park police investigate $12,000 plus cigar heist.
What are you doing here with your security cameras?
Wasn't me on that. Oak Park police are investigating an incident in which more than $12,000 in cigars and cigar equipment were stolen from a garage.
Nice, $12,000 of cigars in their garage. Quite the humidor.
Unknown suspects reportedly gained access to an Oak Park resident's unlocked Subaru Forester and used a garage door opener to open
Subaru Forester in Oak Park?
And used a garage door opener to open a garage at a home in the 800 block of Clarence Avenue. Once inside, the suspect stole a large wooden cigar humidor, a special box designed to keep cigars climate controlled. The thieves reportedly made off with the humidor 750 cigars. 750 cigars in a garage?
I don't know.
And several cans of butane?
Butane. Yeah, it's good.
Butane? The value of the stolen items is estimated at $12,505.
Yes, that makes sense.
Oak Park police are also investigating an incident in which an unknown suspect reportedly smashed the window of an Oak Park resident's Audi Q5. That's more like it, parked in the 100 block of Forest Place and stole 3 loose cigarettes, causing $400 in damage. Oh, this is, yeah, $12,000 cigars.
Yeah.
Oak Park finance director, last one, resigns after 5 months. Marcus was being mentored to gradually take over leadership of the department. The person
Page
tabbed.
up. Page up. I want to see the picture. Oh, she's not bad.
We talked about her.
Did we?
Yeah, when she was first hired 5 months ago.
Yeah. Look at it. She's got a look of sullen disappointment on her face, too.
The person tabbed earlier this year to lead Oak Park's finances into the future has resigned after a few months on the job.
She said she's too straight.
Oak Park announced that it hired Carrie Marcus as the village's financial director in late February. With her starting in that leadership role on March 3rd, the village confirmed this week that she had resigned from that position and that her last day with the village would be Friday, August 8th. The village expects to begin the recruitment for a new finance director to lead the department later this month, Dan Yopchik said. Marcus declined an interview with Wednesday Journal ahead of
Oh,
publication.
man. We got to track this chick down. We got to
Quote,
interview.
I'm grateful for the time I spent serving the village of Oak Park, she said. At this time, I'm choosing not to comment on my transition as I believe the communications team at the village is best positioned to speak on any organizational matters. She was hired to run the village department that's responsible for managing the village's finances, including financial planning and analysis, budgeting, accounting, record keeping and reporting, decision support and analysis, and assessment and management of financial risks and emerging trends.
Good luck with that.
The resignation comes as Oak Park looks to dig in on finalizing its budget for 2026. The village board's finance committee began meeting last week, and discussions of the budget and other financial matters like Oak Park's capital improvement plan feature prominently in the village board's upcoming meeting calendar for the fall.
Do you think she got axed because she raised an eyebrow about the Percy Julian Street?
100% has something to do. She said a couple too many things about
Go-
reckless spending.
Goes to
going
Percy
on.
Julian, dropped a chemical bomb on her job.
Marcus onboarding, including Oak Park extending. Sorry, we gotta stay on this for a second. At the meet, there was definitely a meeting, and at the meeting, she's looking at the numbers and just raising an eyebrow, and that was it. And that was it for her.
And then the camera pans to the upper story of the Julian home, and Faith Julian's looking at her and go, "Bitch, you gone."
Yeah. Marcus onboarding included Oak Park extending interim CFO Donna Gaydon's contract for 1 year before Marcus was meant to assume full leadership of the finance department. Quote, this will allow the new finance director to step into existing financial projects such as the annual audit, the long-term strategic planning, and the budget without losing interim CFO Gaydon's knowledge and skills. Village staff wrote an agenda item on the matter ahead of a March 11 board meeting. It will also allow the finance director to make key hires, including the newly created budget manager position, while maintaining capacity for the department as a whole. Gaydon has served as interim CFO since 2023. That's a long interim. With her employment at Village Hall organized through a deal with MGT of America Consulting. She represented the department during last week's finance committee meeting. My goodness. Marcus arrived in Oak Park after serving as assistant finance director for the village of Bloomingdale. Marcus has also served on the board of trustees and as secretary for the Illinois Metropolitan Investment Fund. She is the latest Oak Park departmental leader to resign this year, joining ex-Development Services Director Emily Egan and ex-Village DEI head Danielle Walker.
Oh boy, they're dropping like flies.
Yeah, sorry, having trouble reading at the end.
That's okay.
That's the segment.
Meanwhile in Oak Park.
What would have happened if I'd gone for it and just said, no, I'm gay?
You were anticipating at least 15 grammatical errors. It's hard to read.
That happens too. And then this light I use gets super bright when I'm
Sun
reading
was in
after.
my eyes.
Yeah.
Well, that was the people segment.
We just need reform.
Another thing that we were right about, Oak Park is certifiable. Right?
We were really right about that one.
That's hitting for the cycle on that one.
We're 150 plus episodes of right on that one.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
All right.
Well, this is wonderful to get our sentiments out.
Anything else?
Nothing. I just feel very content. I have a feeling that this feeling of contentment, not just because we've been proven right time and time again, but as we'll perhaps share on the next episode, I ran across an old essay by Albert J. Nock, the famous libertarian theorist from the 1920s and 30s, called Isaiah's Job. And message is very much aligned with our episode Come What May, which you can go back in the archives and check that out. But
That was a good one.
yeah, just a reassurance that whatever we work on, whatever we're doing, whatever we're providing insight into or celebrating the good, true, and the beautiful, it might fall on deaf ears of the masses, but it'll be heard of and sought out by the remnant. And the remnant are the people of goodwill who already have and certainly will listen to us and engage and interact. Correct us when we're wrong, and I know that's not heavy work, and applaud us when we're right. You good with that, Charlie?
I'm good with that. That's a good way to end.
All right. Until next time, peace.
All right, everyone.